welcome to the last part of Doom: The Dark Ages. This is going to be my last playthrough, relatively speaking. I've not actually done a playthrough. I did 2 episodes before this one, but this one is going to be the ending of the main campaign. I'm going to be able to play the DLCs when those drop, but I'm on the final bit. Spoiler, the BBEG ship is flying away right now, and I'm trying my best to catch up to it before it takes off.
Locking on Asterix signal
He's on board. We hold our ground until he finishes this.
Kill him. Avenge your god. If I die, your god, all his knowledge will be lost forever. I command the Horde. Kill me, and this war will never end. I've lost your edge, heretic. I've lost your edge, heretic.
This is for Daisy and my dragon.
Any word? No one has seen him since the assault.
We are much better off with him on his own. And you, young sentinel. Your father tells me great things about you.
Thank you, sir.
The Maker's Church has disavowed all actions taken by the Creed. They give their word he was acting alone, and they'll bring justice to anyone that collaborated with them.
We'll move forward with our own Inquisition, quietly.
It is time to look forward. We will always be a people of faith. But we must consider now who we will put that faith in. And I say to you, there is no better place to turn to than ourselves. This is our home, and we will stand together to the last sentinel to defend it. As we have before, as our ancestors did. As we always will. And lastly, I'll ask you to join me now in paying our respect to him. The people of Argent D'Nur rest easier now, knowing he is out there.
Targets identified. Slayer, prepped for launch.
I hope y'all actually play this game at some point if you haven't already, and I hope y'all enjoy the video. I'm gonna let this play in the video because this game is amazing, to say the least. The pros and cons between tossing your shield and blocking with your shield, the amount of synergy, the amount of just touch-loving care. TLC. Just to clarify, but the amount of shit that they have done, and they as in everyone here, is amazing. Like, the fact that when you stun the axe throwing dudes, if they're throwing the axe, it will actually deviate off course severely. That is just gorgeous attention to detail and different things like that. It's just, and there's a lot of different things like that throughout the entire game, of how just staggering something can do something, and just overall, it feels like a battle. Like, it genuinely feels like you are a one-man army going through and getting the shit beat out of you in a lot of different ways because of the things you have to take in consideration. There isn't even really anything I could say that's a downside to this game. It's surprisingly a lot harder than Doom and Doom Eternal. It's surprisingly its own thing because of the unique mechanics with that shield. I do think that the shield should have a little bit more flavor with it, if that makes any sense, because the amount of shit you have to rely on with that shield, it's really hard to know when to do what unless you're focusing on one thing, which is why in the last episode, I believe, I had to pivot from killing the lizard to the big floaty thing because both of them were damaging at once. I had to get enough distance from the lizard to be able to kill the big floaty thing. Without that distance, I would not have been able to do everything I need to do, which is the problem with the shield. In the previous games, or future games, technically if you think about it chronologically, I didn't need the shield because it wasn't there and I could just dance around. This completely changes the Doom dance, and it's amazing how that affects overall gameplay, because there is no Doom dance. It is, I see enemy, I kill enemy, and I keep going. It's basically orc crumping. You are basically in a wall the entire time, and it is amazing. And Orc from Warhammer 40k, if you like this, you're most likely going to like the Warp specifically, and just Warhammer 40k in general. It is an amazing thing, but be warned, there is some deep ends in that. There is some shit in there that you don't want to even know about. Just warning you. My personal favorite faction, because a lot of people have their personal favorite, is actually the Harlequins, because they can just fuck with shit that they shouldn't be able to, for lack of a better word, and they are just not happy-go-lucky, but like sad to be happy kind of thing, because they truly understand what they are doing. Like the Solitaires, they are able to literally make a mask and put it on, encapsulating everything about something. Be it a chaos god, which those things can literally eat your soul, and imagine just having a bit of that god, it wants to eat your soul even more, so there is some shit in that. And with all of that, I hope you all enjoy the video, and I'm going to shut up now. I said I was gonna shut up, but the concept of a multiplayer in this game sounds amazing. I have no clue what they would do because like Doom 2016 had a typical like FPS type multiplayer. Doom Eternal had the chess type game mode that was absolutely amazing, and chess air quotations, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of strategy involved, specifically on the demon side, because you were fighting, if you did not know, two demons versus the Doomslayer. The demons are always on the back foot. No matter what demon you're playing, you are on that back foot. If that Slayer is decent, if they are good, you're just dead. Which made that very, very difficult. But something like, I think a mix of the two would be amazing. A battlefield type situation where you're able to have demons and playable characters. It's like a back and forth. Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 was meant to be, I think it was Doom Eternal actually. No wait, Doom 2016 was meant to be more of a Call of Duty thing, or not meant to be. They were dabbling with more of a Call of Duty where you're just a typical foot soldier and you like see the Doomslayer here and there. Something like that for the multiplayer, where you're just a grunt. We're able to have like a primary, secondary, completely changing the gameplay. From you're not the Slayer of Legend, you're just random Joe Billy Bob. Have a gun to shoot demon, or you are Gur Ark Snackerpe, and you are a demon trying to shoot Joe Bob Billy, kind of thing. Where it's that back and forth, and hell, you could actually have human equivalents of demons, don't know what those would be, and demons, where you're able to mix and match, and like Star Wars Battlefront 2 type of thing, where there's more points, you get more points to spawn in the bigger thing, so on and so on. Something like that I think would be a very good idea. And I said that because having a blank statement is not really cool of, like, I want multiplayer. That's not really cool in my personal opinion. Actually having a cool idea and giving it out is better than just blank statements like that. Don't think that that'll actually happen in any way, shape, or form, but something like that would be a cool idea, because imagine playing as the lizard. And I still, after beating the game, that lizard is a pain in the ass to fight. Even after dying multiple times to the final boss. I still do not like fighting those lizards more than that final boss, because it is a clusterfuck to trying to actually see what is going on. Which, if you did not know, why I swapped to the skull grinder is so I can actually see when he's doing specific attacks. Because the big boom of the cannon shot does not allow me to see everything he's doing, so I want a more spray and pray, guaranteed I can see what they're doing, to be able to counter it and react to it. If I can't see it, I can't react to it. Simple as that. I just realized something. The jokes of the Doom cycle, like that fan-made animation of the Doom Slayer getting a motorcycle, I think that was for Doom 2016. The developer said, ha, bet, in this game, and just gave us two amazing, and us as in the players, two amazing gigantic creatures of myth. A Jaeger, basically, or a Titan, whatever you want to call it, just massive, punch-happy machine, and a dragon. I do really want dragon combat to be more of a thing in like later installments, because that combat is really fun, not gonna lie, with how you can fly around and just pick and choose what you want to do. But how to put this, the flight is a little bit janky because you only have up, down, and forward. There is no like dodging mid-go unless you're locked onto something, which is kind of not lackluster. I said that, but it's not really lackluster. It feels slow compared to everything else. It feels slow, even though you're going in Mach Dragon. I'm only saying that because there's not really a lot of nitpicky things I could really even do, because this game is amazing. Just that is like one of the only things that is not as fleshed out, so to speak, as everything else. Even the Atlan. That Jaeger is so fun to play as because the fluidity in his dodge mechanics and his combat mechanics, it is just smooth, to say the least. the last little bit I do want to say about this entire game, if you play this game on console, I highly suggest making your D-pad, if you have enough buttons and the ability to, because everyone plays differently, make your D-pad your main weapons. That's how come I was able to swap through things without having to pull up the wheel of possible death, because it slows things down, does not actually allow you to instantly swap to the things you need. Like, hell, even if you don't do that, figure out the fastest way that you can swap to the things you need. Even if you don't use the D-pad, there's ways to go previous next, if you can go with that, hell yeah, but figure out the way to get as snappy of a response as you possibly can. Because even in Doom 1, or Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and now this one, you need to be able to swap through things as fast as possible. Excuse me, I was trying to mute there, but I didn't. Sorry, I said the last thing was going to be the last thing. This game is a good example of if aim assist was applied, it would be just absolutely impossible to play. Because, okay, the reason why I say this, because aim assist is not a guaranteed you win, and this game doesn't actually have aim assist, which makes it so much more fun and fluid in my personal opinion. Because imagine if it had aim assist. Every little enemy would draw your crosshair. Would make it where you can't shoot the thing you need to, even though these things aren't really going to do a whole lot, and different things like that, which would make every single combat scenario so much harder if it had actual full-on aim assist. I think this game does have aim assist technically, because there is that setting, but I don't know what it actually does. Because there was no magnetism, there was no drawing, there was nothing for my joystick. Everything there was my own personal control, relatively speaking, I think is the right way to put it. But it's a good example of how aim assist would fuck you over if you had aim assist. And there are all sorts of different things that you can take from this gameplay as the random person that wants to play FPS for the first time, all the way up to AAA development studios. Because the amount of nitty-gritty, just in a full-on combat scenario, and how you're able to cut through everything, and just the overall flow of the combat is so good. Where it's better than most because you don't actually need a specific weapon to do a specific thing. You can use any weapon, even when you're dealing with the shields versus not the shields, armor versus not the armor. You're able to fight those in so many different ways. Like, for an example, the energy shields. I personally just like throwing my shield at them because it's able to cut through them if you have the specific upgrade to allow it to be bigger, which is incredibly handy. If you don't have that, please get that. It is just incredibly handy to do. And all these different things allow you to just have a fluid combat system, which is unique in of itself. The amount of fluidity, the amount of push and pull, the amount of every enemy, even the little things. If they gang up on you right, they can just... your health bar's gone. It's amazing how just the gameplay is... I don't know the right word besides the gearing, where it's constant rotations. There is no part where you're not putting pressure on the thing, or they're putting pressure on you, like the gears on a clock. And it's amazing. Not a lot of games have that same through point, from the beginning to the end of constant pressure. Even when you think that you know an enemy, they change it up sometimes. Sometimes they do a different attack than they otherwise would, like for an example, the Revenant, with the cannons that can go invisible. That dude, actually, last time I fought one, ran at me when I was trying to pivot from it's going to shoot me. It full-on booked it at me to do some melee attacks, which it typically doesn't, which allows it to have some good fluidity and just overall back and forth, which is amazing. The last bit I'm going to say for all of this is, how does the Doomslayer get the Praetor suit, like the true Praetor suit from Doom 2016? Because everything does have a good 3-point, like the sarcophagus that he respawned in, relatively speaking. That is, I bet, the same sarcophagus from Doom 2016. But the suit got upgraded in Doom Eternal, relatively speaking, got upgraded. I don't think it was an upgrade, more of a he wants to have more fun, as in he is in the Doomslayer. But that's where you're able to see the forearm, not the forearm's near the wrist. I forget what that part's called. The muscle bits that you can see in the armor, that was actually a upgrade, relatively speaking, in Doom Eternal, so it technically shouldn't be in Doom of the Dark Ages, but that is going to be in the DLCs, most definitely, for how it continues from that into Doom 2016, and then Doom Eternal, because it's one massive through point, and something kind of cool about that, technically that is this bit of the story. Doom 1 and I believe Doom 2. I think Doom 2 is a different person, but Doom 1 and Doom 2 are actually before all of this. I don't know how the timey-wimey chicanery happens, but technically the Doomslayer is not from this continuation, this time string continuum. Because technically, the Sentinels are from way, way back when before humanity technically existed. They look human, but I don't think they should even really look human. I think they should look completely different than human because of what they are actually able to do, what they are a part of, and blah, 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 blah. So, that entire concept, and the reason why that makes sense is because of the timey-wimey chicanery that Hell has in this, where it alters everything. Gravity doesn't exist typically. The biology doesn't, okay. To fully understand what and how this game has a constant through point, even in the characters' designs, please look up a YouTube channel called Roanoke Gaming. I don't know how to spell it, don't even think I'm pronouncing it properly. They are a biologist, relatively speaking, that really likes delving deep into different games, creatures, and how they could actually work in a biological sense. He delves deep into how Argent Energy changes everything about a creature, but still keeps the main base concept, like the Pinkies. I did not know from first glance that the Pinkies are the things that the crossbow dude or the bow dude rides. That's a Pinky, which he actually has a video on that because of how it evolved/de-evolved into the Pinkies that are in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. Because technically it's the same creature, just like how the chicken, like literally the chicken you eat daily, basically, is the closest descendant to the T-Rex. It's that type of evolution going in reverse. Or forward, technically. Had to move there, excuse me. And the reason why I say forward, technically, is because way back when there was more oxygen, which allowed things to be a lot bigger. Even the centipedes were massive way back when, because they could on a pure oxygen intake. And if you know, okay, how about this? Technically, humans only breathe oxygen whenever they inhale, but there's so much more in the air, like nitrogen, all sorts of different things. Like there's like 5 different elements you're breathing any intake of air, unless you're going specifically for an oxygen tank, and then you're breathing in just oxygen. Even when a spaceman has a spacesuit on, they don't have just an oxygen tank, which is why oxygen bars and having pure oxygen intake is actually a gamble, so to speak, because if you're just taking in oxygen, you could actually have a massive problem, which is why people do get high off of just breathing in pure oxygen, which is really cool, not gonna lie. Like, it's cool because of the amount of deviation in how humans evolved over time because of that, and how just an impact of a meteorite made it where that's just constant. Or meteor, I don't know exactly what happened. I don't think meteorite is the exact thing, because I don't know if that could even really happen. For one meteorite to not destroy the planet, but like the Goldilocks zone of everything's fucked, but not everything's not gonna come back. Even the trees stayed, which also different things about how past brings into the future, which is why I personally like the butterfly effect. And I've talked about this multiple times, the butterfly effect is not actually through physical space. A butterfly cannot flap its wings and make a hurricane somewhere else. It technically can through time, and not a full-on each piece domino effect. Like, my personal favorite example of explaining this. If you have a time machine, and you go back in time and step foot on a blade of grass, and that is it. That blade of grass is now altered, and think of the amount of things it should have done. Because grass, if you just think about what grass is, not... Okay, how about this? The amount of things grass can do. They are a good fertilizer. When grass dies, when you cut it, when all sorts of things happen to it, it changes the surrounding area because each individual blade of grass can do all sorts of different things. Like, food for different animals, water intake for different things around it, all sorts of different things that the grass can do. So imagine you going back in time, stepping foot on a blade of grass, or a patch of grass, because you can't just step on a blade, and then going back into your time. Technically, it won't change a whole lot, but that is the bare minimum change. So, say for an example, same instance. You'll go back in time, step on a couple blades of grass, or a couple patches of grass, and cut down a tree. That tree could have done all sorts of different things, and technically, if you go back far enough, that tree could be the ancient ancestor of one of the modern day trees, because trees do evolve like other animals. So, there are so many different things that the butterfly effect through time does affect overall. That is a lot of K's. And a lot of M's. I just realized that is going in alphabetical now. And how? More of a physical, easy to understand concept of the butterfly effect through time. Everything that you are seeing, everything that you are hearing, is based on the butterfly effect. That is gorgeous. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, one of the best quotes Albert Einstein has ever said is, "I stand on the shoulders of giants." And I think it was Albert Einstein. Because everything that you have done, everything that you think is common knowledge, technically wasn't common knowledge way back when, because people had to make it, people had to keep advancing, people had to take one idea and another, smash them together, and make a new idea. Because nothing technically is original. If you think about it, that's not actually a bad thing, that nothing is original. Everything has to have a starting point to have an ending point. So you have to keep going forward and forward and forward to make the next and next and next. Sure, it's not completely original, but nothing can be in a world where everything is ancient. Because even the iron and the gold and everything you're using is part of the same grand design. Really, I don't think grand design, technically, because I don't think there is a overarching god, more like an Yggdrasil, where it just exists. Because technically there wouldn't have to be a worship me god or worship them god, besides just a grand, how to put this, grand board? Everything exists to exist. Nothing exists for a reason, even you. You don't necessarily exist for a reason. Sure, you have like a destiny, something you really want to do, but do you exist to do that, or do you exist just to exist? That is on your personal understanding, what you personally want to do. I think that it is a little bit of both. Everything means something and everything doesn't, depending on how you see it, depending on what you do. Now, with all of that said, hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.